interest in the outcome, or you have some information, or you understand the law, you can go ahead and file a brief saying that you support the defendant or you support the plaintiff in a particular case. Now, somehow, the Attorney General for the state of California, I think it was Mr. Brown, or not sure, but they filed an amicus curiae brief in this case on behalf of Overstock. And I'm saying to myself, now I know Mr. Brown is not that too interested in some victims that might have been accused of something unfairly, and the rumor mongers and the naked short sellers took him. To me, somebody put some political pressure on Brown to give these guys an amicus curiae brief from the Attorney General. And whenever you have substantial elements of the government giving you a amicus curiae brief against you or on your behalf, it helps you a whole lot, because the court will give a lot of deference to the Attorney General of the state of California if they're saying, well, we support this view, and it's kind of like I tried to get the SEC to file an amicus curiae brief on my behalf when I filed this lawsuit against Mr. Semmel, saying this and that, and they wouldn't do it. You see, but and I figured there was a little chance that I would get them, but nevertheless, that case was settled, where Overstock won, and so he got a victory promoting this idea that gradient analytics was part of a systematic naked short selling operation together with rumor mongers. But Mr. Byrne from Overstock had a blog where they were all promoting themselves about being wonderful defenders of the small companies and trying to stop these naked short sellers who were bringing down American capitalism.
So contextually, back to the boogeyman, the whole point of you sharing this was you were talking about there's always a boogeyman somewhere. So what do you think brought down Lehman and Bear Stearns? I
think, and I'm not alone on this, I think that it was a conspiracy to bring down Bear Stearns and to eliminate the competition for Goldman and J.P. Morgan. And I think they got short the stock, okay, naked or some other kind of way, and they were long puts. In other words, they knew. I mean, Bear Stearns was trading at 70 on March the 10th, 2008. By March the 17th, it was trading at $3.70. Okay, now that's the most dramatic drop that I've ever seen in a stock, other than maybe just some penny stock. And Bear Stearns dropped from 70 to below 4 within a week. And there were people, when that stock was 70, they were buying puts, giving them the right to buy the stock, to sell the stock at 20 when it was trading at 70, and those puts only had a week to go. In other words, they had to get a move from 70 to below 20 within a week. Otherwise, their bet on the buying of the puts goes to zero. Now, I contend that all of that put buying of the far out of the money puts was done by people that had inside information about the collapse of Bear Stearns before it was going to happen. Okay? And it was also the case that the options exchanges, pursuant to the request of a customer of Citigroup, And that's what they told me. They wouldn't tell me who the customer was. They told me that the so-called designated primary market maker in the options was Citigroup. And they told me, you see, Citigroup requested of the exchange to come out with some options that have never traded before to give people the right to sell the stock at 20 and 15 and 25 and as low as 5. So they came out with brand new options with these extremely low strike prices.
Are you listening, ladies and gentlemen? Please stay tuned. I'm just checking in with the audience. Please stay tuned. Are you listening to John and getting it? Please stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Continue, John.
Okay. The exchanges, I asked them, well, why did you come out with it? They said, well, they requested it. And so they requested and they accommodated their request, which to me, they should have known, and I think they did know, that they were going to be buying puts. And so they bought loads of puts with these very low strike prices, which, I mean, I could probably line up 100 ex-market makers that would all say that they would guarantee that that was insider trading, okay? Because why would anybody buy a put with the right to sell the stock at 20 for the next week when the stock's trading at 70?
So basically, insider trading is legal to designated market makers, but it's illegal to everybody else.
No. Insider trading is not legal for anybody.
Supposedly.
Huh?
Well, that's the story.
Well, you know, you no matter who you are, you can't trade if you have non-public material information. That's a criminal offense, and it's a civil offense.
But obviously, there are a chosen select group that do get to play and do this. And even though it's illegal, they are still granted the okay, is my point.
Well, yeah, they don't, like, if Patrick Burns was right about these naked short sellers collapsing Bear Stearns, why didn't the government investigate and find those naked short sellers who collapsed Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers and ask them why they made those short sales, why they bought those puts with the strike price of 20 when the stock was 65.
Well, how close is the U.S. government with Goldman Sachs?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, there's a portal, I'm sure. I'm sure that there's a collaboration and cooperation. It has to be.
I agree.
It has to be.
James Dimon, and, I'm telling you stuff that when I put up on my website, they hacked me. But he was on the board of directors of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York during the time that Bear Stearns was collapsed. Now, Jamie Dimon was also the CEO of J.P. Morgan. So there's a federal criminal statute, Title 18, Section 208, which makes it a felony for him to make decisions that favor himself or the company he works for while he's on the board of directors of the Federal Reserve Bank. Okay? But he did that, and he owned 3 million shares of J.P. Morgan at the time. Okay? And the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, where he sat on the board of directors, made two loans. One was a $25 billion loan to Bear Stearns, and another one was $30 billion loan to J.P. Morgan, 29 of which was non-recourse. So they made, and Bear Stearns didn't get any look or they weren't able to touch that $25 billion at all, because that $25 billion was made to Bear Stearns to facilitate the deal. So there was two loans. One was $25 billion, which went to Bear Stearns. Then that $25 billion ended up with J.P. Morgan, and another $30 billion that was lent directly to J.P. Morgan. So $55 billion that went from the Federal Reserve Bank to New York, where James Dimon, the CEO of